dirty shit.
Yeah.
It's not. There's no such thing as an easy laugh.
Yeah.
There's not.
It's not. Joey Diaz used to do this bit about what he called doing the pigeon. And he goes, that's when you're eating a girl's monkey from behind. You stick your nose in her asshole like a fucking pigeon. And somebody who said that about it, like, oh, God. Why is he talking about it? I go, do you think that's easy to do? Yeah. Do you know how hard it is to be that person, to go on stage and talk about stuffing his nose in a girl's asshole when you're eating her pussy from behind?
Yeah. And also, it's just another subject, and it's a pungent subject, because sex is a pungent to people. It excites people, and it scares people.
What people don't like about dirty jokes, they're really hard to follow with clean jokes.
If you're a fucking pussy and you're not paying attention. Yes. Because anybody who's killing, comics are so stupid that they think, I can't follow that. But when somebody's killing, you're going to...
What's up, guys? I have Joe Rogan on the background. He has Louis C.K. on. He's one of my favorite comedians. I'm going to work on the sketch card for a bit. I had a busy day. I just finished up all that artwork from yesterday.
They're like, cool.
And
right.
Like I learned
that. I posted it, so it's on Webtoons. So if you want to check it out, on Webtoons. These are the final pages. I don't know I think you guys saw most of this.
There's certain like comedians that were like
some other inks, just men kissing. Yeah. Oh no.
He was. He opened. It was the Nanuet.
And I gotta do some alterations on some lettering that I just turned in. I got my notes back just now. I was gonna do that first, but I was like, nah. You know what? I'm gonna go draw a little bit. I'm working on Bobble Dillagaff's Kevin Smith Batman.
I was at the Nanuet.
So I used a photo of Kevin Smith trying on
Tom Ayers. Nice guy too. I liked him.
His
closing bit.
Silent Bob
he would just
bat costume.
And his closing
and then
bit
cross that over a little bit with Batman.
A banjo, and he would do dueling banjos. So he had a hat on that was like a helicopter with hooks that he put a cow on it, like a stuffed cow. And he'd go ding 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 ding, and on the tape would go moo 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 moo, and then he'd move the thing and put on a cat, meow 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 meow. And so each animal, and at the end he's spinning. The thing is spinning on his head, and he's playing, and all the animals are, and people are going ah ah. You see them like so excited, and at the end he'd play a big finish, and he'd raise his leg, and on the tape was a big fart. Made no sense. Big fart at the end, and the people would get up, just stamp and applaud. And I think Keith Robinson was emceeing for me. He's opening for me at MSG now. I mean, on the 20th. Keith was like, "You want me to do like some time to?" And I'm like, "Bring me right up." Because I started. It was the first
I'm a big fan of Louis C.K. I think he's a fucking hilarious comedian. It's beautiful. Great storyteller, good director too.
There's joy in it. And the audience is so happy, so I started telling him, bring me right up. Give no pause.
So I just want to really listen to this. I only have so many hours in the day. So I know you guys might be like, this is boring. Why do you have that on?
But and I just look at them, and I had great sets after Tom Ayers.
You rode the wave.
I did.
Yeah. That's what people have to realize. To just ride the wave. The comics tend to think of things... A lot of comics are narcissists, and they think of themselves more than they think of anything else.
Yeah.
And they also they have a famine mentality.
What's that?
Famine mentality means there's only enough for one person. Like there's not enough for everybody.
It's a weird way to think of the world.
It's a terrible way to think of the world. Yeah. It's so wrong, and it's so self-serving, and it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like if you really do believe that there's only so much out there, you'll act as if.
And you'll give up,
Yeah, and you'll start to alienate people around you because people know that you're really just thinking about yourself. You get real weird, and then people get weird around you. They don't feel comfortable.
Oh, hey, Darkest Night. Hey, Starcrow. Hey, what's up, guys?
Genuinely happy for people.
Sorry if I didn't say hello.
Everybody feels good.
No, I always tell comics
I'm working on stuff. Before
you,
same time, looking at my phone.
And you're thinking, if you shit on a comic to the person next to you, you're gonna bomb. I've seen that happen a million times. Somebody's on stage, the guy next to me is going, God, I hate this. I hate when he says this. And they go on, they have a shitty set.
Because you're angry.
Yeah, it's the last thing you should be thinking about.
Yeah.
And also, some comedians, a lot of us are frustrated. We wish we were like rock stars. So, we want to look cool up there, but nobody wants you to look cool.
Nobody wants to look cool. They just want to laugh.
Yeah.
But the looking cool thing is because you don't want to feel like a piece of shit, and you do, so you decide, I want to look cool, so that way I won't be a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And then you go up there and you just
a
like
piece of
ruin the vibe.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so complicated. There's so much going on with comedy.
Yeah.
There's so much going on with it, with every phrase and everything you say. It's really like mass hypnosis. That's really what's going on.
Yeah, there are some I've kind of gotten realized in the last few years, because I'm in deep now. I'm 38 years into it. And there's like, you get another, it's like Scientology when they tell you about the aliens. You know? You got to get really deep in.
Yeah.
You start to go, oh, there's shit about stand-up I didn't know.
Yeah.
And one of them is that there's some automatic laughs that you're getting. And you got to be careful with that.
Right, just timing laughs.
Yeah, you're just getting some laughs because, you know, like tags. A lot of tags are just like, all you're doing is spending that dollar again. And they'll laugh for you. And also, they're nice people.
Yeah.
The comedy audience automatically is a pretty nice person.
They have fun.
Well, and also they came to sit, and in this day and age of like staring into it, they put their phone down for the most part, and they sit with strangers, like shoulder to shoulder, and they listen to a fucking person, you know, for sometimes 2 hours. They're just listening. It's a very giving, you know, there's people that can't do that, like sit in a comedy audience. They're constantly, you know, like people you see leaving their table constantly. And some people, they're just not built for it. But it takes a very patient and giving person. So they'll laugh. And I think about this when I do shit that's really fucked up. And I get some laughs, but I look at them and I go, you didn't want to laugh at that, but you did it for me. You did it for me. And especially if they're your fans.
Yeah.
But also, like, I have my ex-girlfriend who's my dear friend. She's a comedian in France. Her name is Blanche Gardin. She's a hilarious comedian. She's a huge star in France. She's like the biggest star there. And I used to go see her do shows. I saw her about 10 times in French. And I would sit in the audience and watch her, and I'd laugh really hard, and I don't know anything that she's saying.
Oh,
and I'm not fake laughing. It's hypnosis. I start getting into it. She's got a rhythm, and she's really good at it. And so there's ways that she's doing this stuff, and then she's building a thing. And I just find myself laughing with the people also because they're laughing, but also I was honestly laughing really hard at something I didn't know what they were saying. So I know that there's this armature under the jokes. That's just it's a trick. It's a bit of a trick.
There's definitely that, but there's also, if you are genuinely having a good time and you're genuinely locked into these ideas, like you're not thinking about anything else. You're thinking about those ideas, and that makes its way into other people's minds.
Yeah, like, when that's to me the goal.
Yeah.
Every show, to break out of the rhythm and try to be saying this stuff and really feeling it.
Yeah, you have to be actually thinking about it in the moment. When you're not, they can tell.
Yes, they can.
In some weird way, they can tell.
It's a weird thing about what an audience can. But sometimes you think they can. You think there's stuff going on stage that's not going on.
Right. Yeah, it's because it's in your head.
It's in your head, and you're in a very weird place.
Yeah.
On stage, it's like being a pilot in 20 Gs. It's like your brain's not working properly.
You're being a pilot, but you're also a passenger too, because you're kind of like riding this thing.
Yeah.
You know, like you want to steer it, but you're also kind of riding it.
You're in it with them. At the best, you're in it with them.
Yeah.
You're like, right?
Yeah.
And
yeah, it is a mass hypnosis. I really think it is. And I think it's very difficult to trick people on stage. I think you can trick people for a little while, but after a while, they kind of figure out who you really are.
Yeah, well, it's like pitching. I think a comedy like pitching a lot. They'll time your fastball after a while. They see it. It's like, you know, when there's a new phenom that gets put in a game and he strikes everybody out. But by the 6th inning, they've all been up twice.
Right.
And they just start killing the ball. That's most comics. They figure out how to pitch. But after a while, the audience goes, I know what you're doing.
Yeah.
But if you can be like, what's his name, El Duque, the Yankees, like many arm angles, not sure where it's coming from.
Right.
I think of some jokes as brushback pitches. Some stuff where they just go, what the fuck was that?
Right.
And there's and some of those jokes, you don't come back and fix them. You just let them be upset and you go, yeah, I'll do that. Just watch it.
Yeah.
I'll fucking do that. That wasn't even to make you laugh.
Right.
You don't know what I'm going to do, so don't dig in too easy.
Right.
They're off balance. You can get them different ways.
Yeah. We talked about, you at one point in time thought about opening up a comedy club?
Yeah, because you're opening one here.
Yeah, you thought about it? When?
I thought about it when I saw the Babe Ruth movie with John Goodman. Did you ever see that movie?
No.
Played Babe Ruth. And I don't know how much truth there is in it, but he wanted to manage a ball team. And John Goodman was such a good actor. And he does this moment where he says, I love the guys. I want to take care of the guys. I want to be the guy who looks after them and trains them and makes sure they're okay. Because he just loved ball players. And I watched him do that, and I thought, that's how I feel about comedy. I'd like to have a club and start, be the place where new guys come in and new people, and watching them and encouraging awkward comedians that aren't easy laughers,
Right.
And being a place and bringing in great veterans for them to learn from, and you know what I mean, and feeding and cultivating an audience. I watched a lot of guys do that, like Manny and the Cellar and Lucian Holden, the comic strip. Some of my best friends were comedy club owners. Guys I respected so much were guys that ran clubs. So I thought that would be really cool. But it's opening a fucking business is horrible.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that now.
Yeah, I don't want to either, but I'm stuck.
Yeah,
I already started doing it.
Are you anxious about it?
Surprisingly, not that anxious.
No.
Yeah, I have an unusual ability to handle a lot of stress. I just kind of settle into whatever that is.
I know.
And I go, okay, this is what we're doing. I cannot freak out, and so this is not that stressful because I got really good people here. I brought Curtis Nelson and Adam Egid and Eric from the Comedy Store. All these people from the Comedy Store. Kerry to run the bar. I brought the best people that were at the Comedy Store. And
good.
Because it was during the pandemic, nobody was working.
Right.
I said, hey, this is what I'm going to do. Do you guys want to work for me? And so for the last year and a half, they've been actually working for free.
Wow.
They've been getting paid,
right?
But they haven't working. They're not working. They've just been waiting to work.
You're just holding them.
Right, but I kept giving them their full salary.
Right.
I just said, this is not your problem. We had an initial venue that fell apart, so we had to buy a second venue, and the second venue required considerable construction. So I said, listen, this is okay. We're going to have fun. So let's just do this the right way, and I want everybody to be comfortable.
Right.
And now we're less than a month away.
That's amazing.
It's pretty exciting. And it's really good. The inside looks fucking incredible. And the scene here is already amazing. I mean, I did the Vulcan last night, and then after I did a set there, I went over to the Creek in the Cave, and then there's other rooms in town too, and guys are hopping back and forth from room to room and doing 2-3 sets a night. It's really exciting. And there's really good comics here. There's really good up-and-coming people, and Tom Segura moved here, Duncan Trussell moved here, Tim Dillon lives here now, there's Christina Pazitsky, there's a lot of really good comics, Tony Hinchcliffe.
Yeah.
So we're doing these shows. Ron White is here.
Yeah, I saw him. He came to see me at the Creek in the Cave last night.
Oh, did he?
He's one of my favorites.
He's the best.
Yeah.
He's the godfather of this town.
Yeah.
So when, we're doing these shows, Shane Gillis comes in town all the time, and Ari's here all the time. Yeah. So we're having so much fun. It's really an amazing scene right now, and it's exciting because it's new. Mm-hmm. And all these young people that come here and they do Kill Tony, that show, and so that gives them a chance to maybe get 1 minute and do it in front of hundreds of thousands of people on YouTube.
Right.
So there's this energy to this town that's happening now with stand-up that's really exciting because it's a completely new scene.
That's great. Well, like you said, you can't practice it at home. It's the only way to learn it.
Right.
So I always feel a responsibility in that sense. So if you love stand-up, you gotta encourage other people. I bring people on the road with me who I think need exposure to higher pressure and stuff, and to help them learn, and also to tap my head, and I spend the whole time talking to them and answering stuff and stuff like that. And when I'm at the Cellar, I like mentoring. I like being a bit of a teacher,
Yeah.
So, but you have to, because there's no school for it, and there's no.
Which is wild.
Yeah, there never really will be. I don't think that anybody will ever properly. You can't really teach stand-up. It comes from the heart or the balls or the pussy, wherever it comes
Well,
from.
how do you do it? Do you do it like Steve Martin, or do you do it like Stephen Wright, or do you do it like Patrice O'Neill? Like, you can't teach that.
No.
You can teach like certain principles, and you can kind of coach people in whatever their individual style is, and sort of giving them some tips. Like, maybe if you did it this way, or here's the problem with that, or you're taking too much time with this. And
there's obvious mistakes people make, and you can help them by giving them that. Going like, you don't need to be doing that. Yeah, that's a big giant waste of time. Or that's really one thing I've told a few guys and women that work for me is don't stop laughing. You're just nervous. That's just shit, little nervous laughter. Right. It just looks dumb, and it's just do the joke. And if that nervous laughter is because you said something that's kind of tough to sell, fucking stand there and sell it, or just say that's the joke. And like Adrian Appalucci opens for me a lot. She's hilarious,
very funny, and
she's really hard to take for my crowd. Who are there to be offended. What I love doing, whenever Adrian's on stage, I'm right behind her, behind the curtain, and I'm standing there where I can really hear, because she does these jokes and people go, oh! She does this thing about how how about racism and white women are the worst, and that we don't have enough serial killers because they always kill white women. And it boils down to when you think about it, Jeffrey Dahmer did more for black people than Martin Luther King because he killed white women. But he didn't. What? Jeffrey Dahmer didn't kill white women. Oh, I don't know. Oh, no, not Bundy. Not Ted Bundy. Yeah, okay. I'm fucking up her bit. Okay. I'm destroying her bit. Anyway, it's a hilarious bit, but any audience goes like, Jesus! And I love hearing them because she's really loosening them up. She's really fucking, doing deep knee bends, getting them warmed up. But she used to kind of nervously laugh after certain jokes, which showed a little insecurity on her part. Like, maybe I shouldn't be saying this. And I told her, just do the fucking joke and stand there. Like, that's it. That's what I said. Yeah. That's what I said. And the early jokes, people were having a hitch with it. But after they see that confidence in you, and they go, I guess she doesn't give a fuck. I guess she really means it. And they start to come around. Yeah. That's my favorite thing, is how do comics that don't belong up there get good at it? That's where great comedy comes from, is somebody who's not a ham and who's not even into performing much, or, but they just want to do this one thing. Those are where some of the better comics come from, I think.
And then they figure it out. And it's so exciting to watch them figure it out. It's so exciting to watch someone go from being like, he used to be like guys who were like a doorman at the Comedy Store. And then you see them 6-7 years later, and you haven't seen them for a while, and all of a sudden they're killing. And they've got interesting points, and they've got great bits. Yeah.
It's great to watch.
It's a fun art form, man. It's still my favorite thing to watch after all these years. Yeah. I still enjoy, and I didn't for a while. In the beginning, I didn't, because of like jealousy and insecurity. Like, I didn't want, like, if someone else was killing, I'd be like, God, I wish I thought of that. God, I wish I was killing. Like, it was like a weird thing where I was too wrapped up in trying to get somewhere in comedy that I didn't enjoy it anymore. Right. And then I realized, like, hey, stupid, like, this, you got into comedy because you love watching it. Like, why would you not still love watching it? Are you going to give up loving watching it because you like to do it? That's so stupid.
Yeah, I have written all over my notebook this year, don't forget to love it. It's like I wrote it across the bottom of the page of like all the pages one day and on an airplane. Oh, yeah. So as I'm writing notes, it's just there. Yeah. Because you do forget. It's work and it's hard. Yeah. And whatever you do for a living becomes a hassle. Mm-hmm. But you got to love it,
Whatever you do in life becomes a hassle. One thing that I always tell people is, like, the one thing that you think about the most when you're sick is, God, I wish I was healthy. Yeah. When you're healthy, it just seems normal.
It just is what it is.
But when you get sick, you're like, oh, God, this sucks. I can't wait to get healthy. Yep. But when you're fucking healthy, you've got to, like, do whatever you can to preserve that and recognize that there's a possibility that you could get sick. Appreciate the shit out of being healthy.
Well, and then with work, though, with comedy, I feel like there's this other side of the spectrum, which is that you should be willing to be very uncomfortable and very unhappy to do it right. Because that's love. That's
but
real love.
But you're doing it.
Yes,
is my point.
Yes.
If it took it away from you, like COVID when we couldn't do stand up, well then that's you being sick.
Yes,
that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's like not that it should always be the most fun thing to do, because exercise fucking blows. Yeah. Like being healthy, like sitting in a fucking sauna for 25 minutes at 190 degrees and cold plunges and all this shit that I do, it sucks. Yeah. I don't like doing it, but I'm doing it because being healthy is far superior to being sick. Yeah. But you forget. You forget sometimes.
Well, but also it can be it can be a bummer to be healthy. It can be.
How so?
Well, I've had streaks where I'm like, I'm doing it all right, you know, and I'm not doing things that I know make me feel like shit, like eating a bunch of pizza that's just going to flood me with sugar and slow me down and give me a headache and give me a depression that I end up curing with a cigarette, and then I can't move even more, and then I eat more, and then it's a terrible thing. Yep. And like 2 weeks later, I come out of like a dungeon, like I got to stop. Like I can't believe I just wasted all that time.
Right.
But when I'm like, I'm doing it all right. I'm eating well, fucking salmon with brown rice, a little bit of vegetables, you know, or whatever, and drinking water with lemon and staying away from, you know, drinks, no alcohol,
right?
Sleeping without any help, all those good things, you know. There's a dryness to that. Like I just, after a while, I just get cranky. I just feel like I want to indulge and just get some sugar in you.
Moderation.
Feeling like shit has its good points.
Indulgence has its good points.
Yeah, when you feel like you're like, oh, what the fuck did I do that for? There's when you hit the bottom, there's a comfort in that. It's a bed. The bottom is like a bed. Do you know what I mean? I mean, not like alcoholics and drug addicts. I don't know what it's like for them, but in my little self abuses,
every now and then getting off the rails.
You just got it.
No, I like it. I like doing that too. Yeah. But I stay healthy.
That's good.
But I do go off. I mean, I will eat pizza and fucking spaghetti and ice cream. I'll go crazy.
This is the best thing
in the
world.
But then I just self-correct. I go, okay. Yeah. You know, and I feel so bad when it's over. When I eat like a giant, like a fucking big Italian sub and a fucking 32-ounce Coca-Cola, I feel like hot dog shit.
No, it's the worst.
Pizza's never bad. Yeah, that's true.
My favorite thing. I'm just shit. It's just Shitsville, and it's burning hot shits for like a week. I pay hard for ice cream, so I don't do it often. But I don't know. I don't think it'll ever not be. I still stay in shape and some discipline for a stand-up, and I've got this thing at the Garden. Like, to me, that's like the big fight of my life. That's the championship fight. But when that's over and I take a year off, part of me thinks I might just Brando out. I might get really fucking big. I don't know.
Might do a reverse Bobby Kelly.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope not. Sometimes I'm able to be more healthy when I'm not performing, because I go upstate more. Yeah. And I make my trail, and I do my. Yeah, that's better exercise than a gym anyway. Yeah.
I think it's important to be healthy, but I also think it's important to enjoy yourself. Yeah. And I think, there's something about food pleasure, mouth pleasure from, eating a big fucking bowl of rigatoni. It's great. It tastes great. You got to know what's happening. Like, I like drinking. I enjoy drinking. I like fucking tipping a few back with my friends. Yeah. Cheers, everyone. Cheers. I like doing a shot before I go on stage. I enjoy it. Yeah, but I know what I'm doing. Right. I know when it comes to the morning, I'm going to do everything I can to counteract that.
Yeah, sure.
I do everything I can with vitamins. I take IV vitamins and drips, and I do all kinds of shit. But I keep it working right. But I also use my body in a different way. Yeah. Like, because of jiu-jitsu and martial arts, it's a vehicle for me. I'm using it.
Well, we live weird lives, too, because most people can't. When we say things like, it's important to be healthy, but it's important to enjoy yourself, most people even can't have that conversation.
Right.
Like, most of the population is just fucking grinding.
Just trying to live.
They're just dragging their bodies across broken glass and trying to, like, hand off just enough to their kids and then fucking collapse in a heap of cancer.
Yeah, they're just trying to pay the bills. They're just trying to pay the bills. Just stay one step ahead of the grave digger.
Or only 2.5 steps behind.
Yeah.
That's how most people live.
Right.
Like I was talking to my Blanche, my French pal, and I said, life is a zero-sum game. It's something I believe it's a zero-sum game. But effort you put in, and it comes back, but you end up at zero.
Right.
She said, for a lot of people, life is about a negative 500 some game.
Yeah.
And it's true. Some people, everything they can possibly do, they end up so fucked.
Yeah.
Just fucked for good. And it's just life is fucked.
And because of that, you have this attitude that life is fucked. So then that's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
I guess. I mean, it's
negative attitude.
There's not much room for that kind of shit, though, in most people's lives. But in America, compared to everybody else, we're really doing great.
Yeah.
So we can have these long conversations about what's the right way to think and what's the right way to live, and all these many boutique things of here's how to feel better.
Yeah.
Because we're just kind of sitting around. We're just consumers. We're just consumers of the rest of the world. So
I was watching this video where these guys were talking about, Lex Friedman and Andrew Huberman were talking about saunas and cold plunges and stuff like that, and like the benefits of it. They're two scientists.
Yeah.
They're talking about the provable benefits, heat shock proteins, cold shock proteins. And then I'm reading the comments where some guy was like, yeah, well, you guys aren't talking about is how much it costs to buy a sauna. You're making it seem like it's all free. And like what are you supposed to do? Like, every fucking thing, like, I'm sorry if you're broke.
Oh, no, you have the conversation for people that can live that way.
Well, I mean, not just...
But it's just fun.
It's not... it's not impossible to achieve. We're not talking about buying a fucking Lamborghini.
Yeah, but I'm not saying that there's something wrong with talking about that stuff because other people can't afford it. That's not at all what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that it's actually part of why people are miserable is because it's a ridiculous conversation. It's not like the earth and the experience of like competing for food and oxygen and living on Earth, and living in society and just being a person. We've got to some altitude here where we're having some stupid conversations that are just, should I do a cold plunge or a sauna? Like, what the fuck is that? It's not you should be ashamed because people can't afford it. I feel sorry for the guy in that conversation. It's like it's a ridiculous trying to find just the right balance because there's nothing really challenging you because you don't have any real problems and you're not on the earth. You're not standing on the earth anymore. You're in a bubble where you sort of like maybe I'll try this and maybe I'll just do protein now and I'll do what I mean. And you'll never find the balance because that's not a normal life. That's not organic living. That's not living like a human being. You don't have a choice because,
but you have what are you going to do? Be poor? But you have a physical body, and if you have a physical body, there's things that are beneficial to your physical body.
Sure.
And if you choose to do those things, you'll have a better body. It'll work better. And if you choose not to do those things because you think they're ridiculous, or do you think like, that's not organic living? That's not life. Yeah. This is not life. It is life. It's life. And people have invented shoes. The reason why they invented shoes is because rocks will cut your feet. Yeah. So they figured out shoes. Shoes are better than no shoes, right? Getting in a sauna and getting in a cold plunge is better for the physical body than not doing it. Yeah. It's the same thing. Lifting weights is better than not lifting weights because then you develop a strong body and don't lose your bone density.
All true.
Like all these things are a part of life. You could just decide they're not organic.
They're a part of life when you've removed yourself from the food chain and from real life. They become part of life.
If you're not getting eaten by tigers, yes.
That's right.
Yeah, but like we already figured that out. So like as we move to becoming a multiplanetary species,
that's what I'm saying.
There's a lot of things that you're going to figure out.
Well, and also our predator now is each other. So it's now we're not anymore about other animals. We're about killing each other.
And when you are about other animals, that's when you realize you've really fucked up. Like we already sorted this out, and here I am getting eaten by a tiger.
You're a fucking idiot. You're a fucking idiot if you're a human being being eaten by a tiger.
If you're a guy from Connecticut, you're getting eaten by hyenas, you've made a giant mistake.
That's right. Yeah. But I don't know. I think part of it is just being an old guy that I think like you see certain signs that the game is over. Because people are starting to talk about such abstract forms of life. And I can see that none of it satisfies anybody.
Abstract forms of life? How so?
Abstract things like having your body at the right temperature and talking about different substances going in and out and ways to, and turning on oxygen
to try to enjoy it more. It's just to try to enjoy it more.
Yes, it is. But you won't ever get to what is fulfilling about life. I don't think
that's not true.
Through that stuff,
that's not true. When you do those things, your body is more relaxed. It works better.
Sure,
and you feel better.
Sure.
It does with me. When I
understand,
when I do cold plunges and I get out, it raises your dopamine 200%. It lasts for multiple hours.
Yes,
you feel better. You really feel better.
I don't even know what I'm saying. I just feel a thing about this.
I know what you're saying.
I feel a thing about it.
But there's also a thing that people do.
The last thing I'm doing is putting it down from like, oh, look, you're so lucky you can have. That's not what I mean.
No. But you're kind of dismissing it as being, at the end of the day, it's all fucking bullshit anyway.
Kind of. It's just that it's just.
Which is true.
I think that the most, I don't know, there's a form of life. It's a weird thing because you're not supposed to be happy. And you're not supposed to be safe. I think that that's the problem, is that people expect that, and it's not a good way to. You're not happy when you're safe. You're not happy when you're happy. When you're secure. Like people. I was really listening to something about the border. These people just trying to come into America, and some people are like, well, if we let just a few in, it's a mess. Like there's no good answer.
Right.
What if we just let the ones in who are really upset?
Yeah.
But we can't let them all in. Like when liberals try to say, it's like the dumbest position they get into. It's like, well, we can't let them in here. Got to keep them out. But we really like them, and it's great that they're brown. And sorry, but there's like an impossible. And then the right takes over, and they sound racist, and then the left takes over. They just sound stupid. But my feeling is they should open the border, and just let them pour in, let everybody pour in, and then the answer, which is, well, then there'll be all these problems. Yes, there should be. It shouldn't be so great here, is what I'm saying, in America. It shouldn't be. It's a weird thing to sequester a certain group of people and try to keep upping their lifespan and their lifestyle. And just keep trying to increase that for this group of people. And then this pressure of people trying to come in so they can enjoy it. And then it gets worse and worse down here. I mean, I'm not Canada. It's really just from down here. There's something wrong with that. That's not a system that's working. And it forces people to do cruel things to other people. There's a lot of people that die so Americans can be safe. They're just dying, weddings that are drone bombed in Yemen because the guy said something that might have resulted in American insecurity. Not even like definite American deaths, but like just so we can breathe a little easier. Folks die, and folks do labor in unsafe places so that we can keep the prices where we like them. There's so much about American life that other people pay for. That's part of it. But also, it's not good for us either. It's not a good way to live in a gated community. If you let folks pour in like any other wave, it'll kind of slosh, and then things will be different. I don't know, like what'll really happen? A bunch of people, like, will they just come with knives and start killing everybody? I don't think so. I don't know what'll happen, but it's just weird to me. I mean, I lived in Mexico when I was a kid. My dad's Mexican. And I remember my first cogent thoughts were in Mexico, and then I came to America.
But you lived in Mexico pre-cartels. It's a different world now.
Yeah, but it was Mexico in the 70s. It was a pretty gnarly, smelly place. But
I'm sure.
I mean, it was Mexico City. It was beautiful. Also, it was a city before America had anything. It's this very old European kind of place, Mexico. It's a beautiful country, and it's got a lot more depth to it than anybody knows here. And we're not really sharing with them because they're kind of like the other guys, because we're afraid of how many of them are dying to come here to work for us for very little. Like this thing. I don't know. I don't know. This is shit I don't know about. But the feeling I get is that the more this American security, this feeling of like, there's more oxygen in the air, there's more. It's not good in the end for everybody somehow.
Well, it's certainly not balanced, right?
No,
if you look
it's
at
not
the top 1% of the world is $34,000 a year.
Yeah.
If you make $34,000 a year, you're in the top 1% of the world. You're basically living in like lower income America.
Right.
It's the top 1% of the world.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
It is.
And so, like, why is that? Well, corrupt governments, lack of freedom, lack of democracy, but also exploitation from American businesses, where they go over there and they start sweatshops. And, one of the greatest ironies is people complaining about social justice issues on an iPhone, which is made by slaves.
Oh yeah, it's a horrible thing.
I had Siddharth Kara on the podcast. He's a journalist that traveled to the Congo to watch them mine cobalt and snuck into these cobalt mines. And he wrote this. Is it called Cobalt Red? Is that what it's called? It's out. It's out at the end of this month.
What they do to get the?
It's fucking horrific.
Yeah,
I mean horrific. It's all slaves. It's slaves. It's women who are 19 years old with cobalt red. How the blood of the Congo powers our lives.
And that's some of what goes into like electric cars and stuff too, right?
Yes, cobalt. Yeah. It goes with lithium-ion batteries. It stabilizes them. So, there's all sorts of shit that has to. That's a cobalt mine.
This the thing is that we look at these wide shots of just like clogs of people.
Mm-hmm.
That's how most human beings live, and.
But this is particularly egregious.
And this is what are they? They're making iPhones in there.
First of all, look at that dude right there, the one with the tan shirt. Yeah, that dude's jacked. If I was that guy, I'd be like, "Hey, buddy, do you know how to wrestle? Like, come here. You want to make some money?
Yeah.
Like, look at the size of that motherfucker. That guy's got superior genetics.
This is some guy. This is some guy. He could live in Cincinnati.
Right.
He could work at the Avis and at the airport in St. Louis,
or he could be a UFC champion.
Yeah, but he's in this huge pile of people, so that we can have
phones.
The new phone.
Yeah,
it is. It's a crazy amount of. It's so lopsided.
So lopsided.
And then our lives become more and more pointless until people are like, should we just give Americans money? Like Andrew Yang's idea. Let's just give them money and they don't have to do anything.
Yeah. Just fucking
like, what are we doing? What the fuck? The point of life used to be, don't die. That used to be the point of life.
Yeah.
Don't die, pass on your sperm or whatever. And then somewhere in the margins, you'd be like, this feels good. Like next to a fire and you just almost died, but you cooked the thing that tried to kill you and you're eating it. And you go, all right, I feel good. This feels nice. And you get to enjoy the stars in the sky, There's something to that. But this point of like, just give everybody money every week so that they can buy. But who's doing anything? Like who's, and just let
Where's
them.
the money coming from?
Let them make the shit. They're invisible. And then let's all just be. And then we start having conversations about what's the right way to say things and what's the right stuff to put in your body and what's the right position to sleep in. Because it's a joke. It's just funny to me, I guess is the thing. Like I remember
see what you're saying.
I remember I was at a wedding and there was a guy there who was a Tibetan and with his wife. And my wife and I were talking about our dog. And we're saying that she's getting surgery. She's had a heart.
Sorry if I didn't have any tunes on. I just really wanted to watch this. I only have so much time today.
And he just laughed really hard. He was like, what? Our dog was... He goes, I'm sorry, who's getting surgery? And we said, our dog. And he just laughed really hard. He was like, what? Our dog was in surgery. And he's like, I'm really sorry. And he was like, I'm sorry. I don't understand. He thought like our mom was having surgery or something. It's like, you give your dog surgery? You put a dog in an operating room and operate them? This guy who's like from some place in Tibet was like, that's insane. It's like my chicken has a psychiatrist on some level. It's like ridiculous. We're from, and I looked in that guy's eyes and I'm like, I want to be him. It's not that I'm ashamed of me being because of him, but I just think we've gotten really far away, and that's me and how I feel. I mean, when I meet kids, my kids' age, and I talk to my kids, I'm like, they're ahead of me in some ways, and they got something new
fat ass, fly.
Sure. And my nephews,
I think it came
something more nephews. Well, they got their eyes are forward, and a lot of this shit.
What do you mean?
Well, like
came out pretty good. You want something like this? You guys can always go
the internet and TikTok,
and
they kind of
pick up a card. Nice thick stock.
Smarter.
$10 for a black and white. This came out a little bit in color just because I had time, and I was like, man, let me throw some color on here. So you can always get an upgrade by accident.
there's an energy to my
Sometimes
kids
I
and
start
their
drawing and I'm like,
friends
this looks too cool.
that
I
I
gotta fucking put some
really
color
admire, and I think
So-
that gives me hope. You know, I always have
You
hope
can always
for
get one
human
for
beings.
$10.
I think human beings figure things out.
Human
Black
beings
and white,
figure things
25
They
color.
do. I think they're, and they also
And then I have
mean
all
well,
of our other various
but
options.
on the whole to each other. They
You know what?
hurt each other a lot.
You hold on. I'm gonna skedaddle, guys. I just have only so much time today. I have to run and run and run. I got so much stuff to do. So, but thank you guys for tuning in. If you enjoyed the show, you can always leave a tip. Every little dollar counts. If you want to get anything, you can always hit me up. You can always go to FWACATA.com too. You can hit me up through there. There's a email form on the bottom. You can also check out all the other artwork. I gotta update it. That's one of the many things I have to do. And then and we'll talk then. I'm out of here, guys. Thank you for tuning in. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow. Not breaking the chain.